Today I would like to talk about Jump Force DLC, specifically the Season 1 of DLC, and what I want to do is give you guys a little buying guide for said content. The plan is to go through each of the 9 characters included in Character Pass 1 and outline some pros and cons for each character, as well as everything included in their character packs. The plan is to give you guys an idea of which character is right for you based on their gameplay and overall strength, so you can spend your money correctly. I'll have some timestamps in the description so you can skip to whatever character is convenient for you. All of that up next. So for those of you still here who haven't skipped to whatever character you want, I'm just going to run through each character included in Season Pass 1, as well as some price stuff. The prices I'm using here are on the Xbox One since that's the platform that I play on. So the Season 1 Character Pass costs £25.19 and each individual character costs £3.19 here in the UK. So buying the Character Pass will save you £3.52, which means you will only really want the Character Pass if you definitely want every character. You're probably better off buying characters individually if you want 8 or less characters. And to just translate that, the Character Pass is $29.99 in dollars and euros, and the characters cost $3.99 in dollars or euros. And you'll save $5.92 in dollars or euros if you buy the Character Pass instead of buying every character individually. Obviously the other big part of the Character Pass is the DLC Early Access, but that doesn't matter anymore since we're past Season 1. So we're just going to be looking at the price based on the characters themselves. £3.19 is a pretty good price for a DLC character overall. Other games such as Samurai Showdown, Mortal Kombat 11 and Dragon Ball FighterZ charge their characters at $4.99, $4.79 and $3.99 respectively, so it's below average as far as price goes. The characters in Jump Force do have less depth than the characters in some of those other games, but you also get customization items with these characters as well, so that's a good price. The 9 DLC characters in Jump Force DLC Season 1 are Seto Kaiba, All Might, Biscuit Kruger, Katsuki Bakugo, Majin Buu, Hitsugai Toshiro, Madara Uchiha, Grimmjow and Trafalgar D. Law. That's quite the roster, and in it there's a lot of unique styles as well as varying levels of strength, so let's find out who's right for you. So when you purchase the Seto Kaiba character pack, you unlock Seto Kaiba, and for customization you get his coat, trousers, bracelets and shoes. These items are exclusive to male CACs. As for abilities, you only get one ability and it's his third ability, My Turn. Kaiba is a good hybrid character in my opinion. I personally feel that his kit is more geared towards long range play, with the ability to play offensively or defensively by setting himself up from range. However, his Blue Eyes White Dragon can make him a pain to deal with up close, so he's still strong in the close range. Kaiba has a good assortment of tools. A beam ability is always good, and his second ability can save you from getting punished. Also, his third ability gives him some extra options for playing from long range. I think that Kaiba is a fairly specialised character. He really isn't for everyone. If you like long range play, then I think that's the easiest way for me to recommend Kaiba to you, and if you're a fan of Yugi, then I think that's also a reason to pick him up. As far as strength goes, I'd say that Kaiba is above average. His overall tools are good and his normal attacks can be very misleading and keep him safe when he shouldn't be. If you're looking specifically for a strong character, there's definitely better options, although you still can't go wrong with Seto Kaiba. Additionally, the CAC stuff is hit or miss. Since My Turn is sort of like having 3 abilities in one, there's some value to be had there and it's still a fun ability to use. And if you like the outfit that Kaiba offers, then that's cool as well. To reiterate, if you like Yugi, you'll probably like Kaiba. They're still very different but have some overlap. If you like long range setups and safer engagement, that's always grounds to pick up Kaiba, but since he's more specialised than other characters, you might want to go for somebody else if you want an easier time. So let's talk about Biscuit Kruger, one of my personal favourites of the Season 1 DLC characters. So purchasing the Biscuit Kruger character pack will get you Biscuit Kruger, and her outfit includes her dress, shoes and her gloves. As you can imagine, these items are exclusively for female CACs, and for the abilities, you get all 3 of her core abilities. I Feel Like Messing You Up Good, Tenko, and finally Honed Body. To an extent, Biscuit is somehow the most generic and most unique of the DLC characters in Season 1. The thing is, her kit consists of a dash attack, a buff, and a counter, which sounds like the most generic and boring playstyle, right? What I love about Biscuit's design is that these abilities are more than just that, and offer her a very interesting and unique style compared to other abilities like these. Her dash super is pretty standard with a cinematic and good damage, but it just feels great to hit this ability. Her buff is basically permanent until the end of the round and buffs her attack and her defense. What's unique is that at any point you can remove this buff to unleash a quick close range guard break attack. So that's another tool to use if maybe you're having trouble opening your opponent up and you just want to get rid of the buff and get that extra attack. And her counter is great because it pops the opponent up, so you can just continue with a regular combo or ability or anything. Or you can just play it out like any other counter in the game and just do a quick attack and end it. Her normal attacks are also great. They're fast, sporadic, and lunge Bisky far forwards. I definitely have a bias towards Bisky, but I don't want to under or oversell the character. That being said, let me talk more about why Bisky is amazing. Her outfit is limited, but the abilities you get from her are good and can fit into CAC builds, unless you're just wanting to run something super optimal. She's pretty strong like any DLC character. I don't think she's the best, but I do think that her strength is very underrated, and I think that's because her gameplay is relatively specialized. Anyone can pick up and play Bisky, but she doesn't really have as much of a wow factor since she's quite standard. I would recommend picking up Bisky if you want a strong all-rounder character. She's got good range on her attacks and abilities and takes a unique spin on some generic ability types. However, she doesn't excel past many fighters in some areas, so if you're facing an opponent who knows how to fight Bisky, you'll probably have a harder time getting in and staying in. For any All Might fans, I think you get some great value out of purchasing this character. Let's go through that. Obviously you unlock All Might. In addition, you get his full outfit, which is separated as his top, bottoms and shoes, and this is a unisex outfit, which is nice. As for abilities, you get his Detroit Smash, Oklahoma Smash, and his Awakened ability, United States of Smash. All Might is very much an offensive powerhouse. He's very fast and has some good tools for different situations. He can keep up block string pressure and get some unique combo opportunities from his Detroit Smash, which is much better than Deku's. He also has Carolina Smash, which is insanely good for quickly closing the distance and confirming to a full combo, with an assist of course. And he also has Oklahoma Smash, which is quite slow but an unblockable ability nonetheless. His normal attacks are also solid, they're fast and have good lunge. All Might would have to be one of the stronger DLC characters in my opinion. Whilst I think that all of the DLC characters are uniquely powerful, I think All Might would have to crack the top 3 for sure, at least out of the Season 1 roster. His outfit doesn't look too bad on CACs in my opinion, and getting 3 abilities is always nice even if one of them isn't great. To conclude, if you want a strong, high damaging offensive character, then All Might is your guy. He doesn't have any sort of long range play, but in the event that he is at long range, he can just close the gap instantly. I highly recommend this character. Majin Buu is admittedly one of my lesser favourite DLC characters, but if you're thinking about picking him up, you have good reason to do so. When you purchase the Majin Buu character pack, you will receive the character as well as his outfit, which includes his top, bottoms, shoes and gloves. This is also a unisex outfit. As for abilities, you get 3 of them, 2 core abilities and his Awaken ability. These are Vaporize, Now Buu Mad, and Now Buu Really Hate You. Since I haven't played as much Majin Buu, it's harder for me to comment on his playstyle and specific pros and cons. From what I know however, Majin Buu is quite strong and underrated in my opinion. He's got some good neutral tools and interesting offensive capabilities. His unorthodox playstyle definitely means you'll have to put more time in to learn this character since he can't be played like every other character. His first ability is just whatever, it's a standard combo ender, but his other abilities get a little more interesting. Vaporize is a projectile that carries the opponent along with it and lasts a very long time, and Now Buu Mad is an interesting offensive tool that you can use very creatively for offensive pressure and combos. I think that Buu is good, but since I haven't played him enough, I can't directly rank him compared to the other DLC fighters. One thing I can wholeheartedly say is that if you're looking for a unique character with a distinct playstyle, Majin Buu is perfect for you, more so than Kaiba and Bisky. His outfit looks surprisingly good, especially on female characters in my opinion, so that's a plus as well. I haven't used his abilities in any CAC builds at all, but they're pretty good on Buu, so I'm sure there's some use there. To conclude, pick up Majin Buu if you're looking for a unique character who is also well balanced offensively and defensively, depending on how you want to apply him. However, that uniqueness comes at the cost of being more difficult to learn than your average Jump Force character, more difficult than Kaiba in my opinion. So I think that whilst everyone acknowledges the strength of Bakugo, I don't see enough talk around the character or as many people playing as him. Let's get into what he can offer. When you purchase the Katsuki Bakugo DLC pack, you receive the playable character, and his outfit is split into 5 pieces: his top, bottoms, boots, gauntlets, and even a wig of his hair and headpiece. This is exclusive to male CACs. As for abilities, you actually get all 4 of Bakugo's abilities, which is amazing. As far as pure value and content, Bakugo is potentially the best of the DLC characters. Much like his personality, Bakugo is an aggressive character through and through. He's got good damage, pressure and mobility, and ways to easily lock down the opponent. Whilst I think that All Might is overall better if you're looking for pure rushdown, I really urge you to take a look at Bakugo since he has a lot going for him. His first ability is a unique, multi-hitting ranged attack that knocks the opponent up higher each time it hits, which is interesting for combos. His second ability is a mostly standard dash with the ability to carry the opponent upwards or downwards and extend combos. His third ability is a guard break and deals a lot of damage, and his ult is pretty standard but looks cool in my opinion. As I said, he can't mindlessly rush down the enemy like All Might, but Bakugo still makes up for that with strengths in other areas. Bakugo is a very unique offensive character with the types of effects and combos you can get with his abilities. In addition, you get a lot of value out of the CAC items, specifically the abilities. Whilst the outfit is exclusive to male characters and arguably doesn't blend well with other outfits, the fact that you get all 4 of Bakugo's abilities is nice, especially since his core abilities are all quite unique. To reiterate, Bakugo is a good recommendation if you're looking for an offense-oriented character, but not a mindless one. With these unique set of tools, Bakugo is also a powerful character with good damage and easy combos, but he does still have some depth there for those that want it. A good zoner will give Bakugo a harder time than someone like All Might, since his dash isn't as good for closing the distance and his normal attacks don't have as much range. I don't think that Bakugo is the strongest DLC character, but he's still very powerful and doesn't have many clear weaknesses. So Toshiro. Much like Boo, I haven't played very much Toshiro, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm not familiar with everything about the character, but I'll try my best to cover that information. Toshiro's outfit is split into just 2 pieces, his kimono and shoes, which is unfortunately male exclusive. You also get one of Toshiro's abilities, his third ability, 6-point ice formation. So as far as CEC content goes, there's not much to be had with Toshiro. Toshiro's gameplay is that of a more offensive character with some long range play. His Icicle Bird's ability is a fairly unique projectile for long range setups, but isn't so easy to put into combos. Toshiro's 6-point ice formation is also an interesting ability, not only for combo potential but also the fact that it's a trap, which isn't very common in Jump Force. And his dash attack is pretty standard but feels great to hit in combos, and is also easy to fit into combos. Same goes for his Awaken ability, which has a long animation but an interesting and unique hitbox. Also, his Awakening changes his form, which is one of my favourite parts of the character. Uniquely, his regular attacks also inflict ice damage, which is a nice bonus. Going into this DLC review, I definitely wasn't favouring Toshiro, but after giving it some more thought, I think there's good reason to pick up Toshiro. He is very easy to play and much like Biscuit Kruger takes a unique spin on many generic ability types such as a multi-hitting projectile and having a trap. Despite his long range abilities, Toshiro will have a hard time consistently zoning the enemy, so I wouldn't recommend playing him at range most of the time. To conclude, I'd recommend picking up Toshiro if you're on the lookout for an easily approachable offensive character, who also has some interesting and unique long range potential. That being said, his range play is a double-edged sword, as it can leave Toshiro very unsafe in many situations if you aren't applying it properly. Again, Toshiro isn't the strongest DLC character, but he definitely isn't weak. Even though the CAC items aren't the best in terms of customization and player freedom, the character himself has a lot of potential. Next up, Madara Uchiha. Going into Jump Force DLC Season 1, Madara was possibly the most highly anticipated character, so I'm sure many people are interested in picking up Madara. Let's see what Madara can offer. With the Madara character pack, you receive the playable character, his outfit which is split into 3 pieces, his armor, shoes and gloves, and weirdly enough you can't get his fan. As for abilities, you only get one of them, and it's his fire-style Dragon Flame Loud Singing Jutsu. You probably could have guessed, but Madara's outfit is exclusive to male CACs. Madara is another character who strikes a fine balance between offense and defense, although I think he does it better than some of the aforementioned characters. Where Kaiba is more geared for mid to long range and Toshiro is designed with close range in mind, I feel that Madara has a bit more freedom in how you may want to play. Versatile is a perfect word to describe him. Like with literally every DLC character on this list, I think Madara is a good character. That being said, I think that Madara's strength overall is actually overrated. I would honestly say that he's possibly in the bottom 3 weakest DLC characters in Season 1, if not that then at least the bottom 4. Maybe I don't understand Madara's true potential and that's fair enough. And I also really want you to know that that doesn't mean that Madara is weak by any metric. I'm just saying that he's overrated. As for his abilities, Loud Singing Jutsu is a cool looking ability that has a unique take on Sasuke's Fireball Jutsu. It can also be fired twice, which is cool for zoning and gives some different combo options. Susanoo is a great move visually and with its wide hitbox can be used to counter-attack the opponent or simply catch the opponent whenever they're close to you and trying to do some dodges or attacks. Uchiha Reflection is a counter with the potential for a follow-up, similar to Bisky but it does require some more skill, and his ultimate is pretty standard. Of the 9 DLC characters from Jump Force Season 1, I definitely feel that Madara is floating in that lower end, in the bottom 4. That being said, I really don't want you to be turned off by that statement whatsoever. I cannot urge how much I mean that. Me saying that Madara is overrated is sort of a hot take. I personally haven't spent much time with the character past the basic level, and I'm not really a good player anyway. If you're one of those people who are a fan of Madara and might be disappointed by my comments, don't be. Madara is still a strong character overall, with a versatile range of offensive and defensive abilities. He also has some pretty good normal attacks from a visual and mechanical standpoint, good range and speed. Madara's zoning play will lose out to stronger zoners and he definitely lacks in offense when stacked up to some of the competition. That being said, Madara is a character who doesn't have a clear crack in his potential. There's not one thing that Madara is going to necessarily struggle with unless he's facing somebody who is flat out better than him in that area, in which case his versatility will allow him to play differently. Next up, Grimmjow, who was quite a surprise for me. I didn't expect to like him very much, but he's quite interesting. When you purchase the Grimmjow character pack, you receive the playable character, his outfit which is split into 3 pieces, his jacket, trousers and shoes, and this is all exclusive to male CECs yet again. You also receive one of his abilities, his third ability, Jaw Split. So Grimmjow is another character who has an interesting way of approaching a standard playstyle. Whilst Grimmjow has some decent long range play, he's definitely more close range offense oriented, kind of like Toshiro. Grimmjow's kit has a couple of long range abilities, but zoning isn't necessarily his focus. Grand Race Arrow is always going to be a good ability since it's a beam and beams are good. It's a vital combo tool for Grimmjow and gives him just another option to use when he's not so close to the opponent. Similarly, Garra della Pantera gives Grimmjow some more options from range. This ability is difficult to combo into with effectiveness, but it's not impossible, so there's definitely some mastery to be had there. And his third ability is Unblockable, which can be used for mix-up play. Pair this kit with some tricky normal attacks and Grimmjow can definitely get the better of his opponent when in close range. I said this about every DLC character so far and I'll say it again, Grimmjow is a strong character. That being said, I do think that Grimmjow takes a bit more skill than your average Jump Force character to master. I think that Grimmjow's potential is more down to the person playing him and not the character himself. He does feel less autopilot than someone like All Might or even Bakugo. That's not to put down any character, every character has their own skill set and paths to mastery, but I found that Grimmjow was a little harder for me to pick up from the get-go. Again, not a hard character to play, but there's definitely some depth there if you're looking for it. Anyway, to conclude my thoughts on Grimmjow, he's a unique character who has a high skill ceiling for offensive players. In my opinion, there's a lot you can do with his mix-up game. He also has an overall balanced kit as far as having close range and long range options, so he's versatile like Madara. I think Grimmjow's biggest downside is his difficulty. Grimmjow is a strong character with a well-rounded toolset, and you will need to be a more skilled player to fully utilize Grimmjow compared to some other characters. And finally, the final DLC character from Jump Force Season 1, Trafalgar Law. When you purchase the Law character pack, you of course receive the playable character, as well as his outfit which is split into 3 pieces, his jacket, trousers and shoes. Law's outfit is also unisex, which is quite rare for these DLC characters. As for abilities, you only receive one from Law and it's his awakened ability, Gamma Knife. I really don't want to put down any of the other DLC characters with this next statement, but I think that Law is the strongest of the 9 DLC characters. Law is very much geared towards offensive play as well. Law has ranged options, but by no means can he zone like Madara, Toshiro or even Grimmjow. Law's long range play is more ability mix-up, pressure and finding a way in. Additionally, Law has a unique mechanic tied to his abilities. Each time he opens a room, a small amount of health is subtracted. This is minuscule but does add up in the long run. That being said, this small nerf doesn't affect his overall strength, since you'll be taking much more health away from the opponent anyway. To run through his abilities, Injection Shot is a standard dash super, but has great range and damage and a lot of block stun. Hitting the opponent will also allow Law to follow up with Shambles, which forces the opponent to swap to their next character and putting their assist on cooldown. So that's another unique mechanic that is pretty much exclusive to Law as a character. His second ability is a long range attack with high knockup. It's good for combos in this way, but it doesn't compete with usual zoning projectiles and beams. It's a great setup for his other abilities as well due to the knockup. Radio Knife is an unblockable ability that teleports Law to the enemy. Very reactable in the neutral, but it can definitely help to close the distance, especially against inexperienced players. One thing to note about his room mechanic is that when you open a room with one of his abilities, you can instantly use another ability within that room to stop yourself from taking even more damage for using more than one ability. This is especially helpful since his rooms have different sizes, so you can actually extend the range of certain abilities by using a larger room from a different ability. Law once again provides a unique playstyle to Jump Force, which seems to be a trend with these DLC characters. In addition to that, Law is definitely very powerful, from his base stats to some of his mix-ups and his overall offensive play. Also, being able to force your opponent to switch can be extremely powerful against certain opponents and matchups. To conclude, I would recommend Law to anyone looking for a unique character. Law presents a one-of-a-kind mechanic with his room abilities, and he also has the ability to force the opponent to switch. Whilst not as aggressive as Bakugo or All Might, Law is definitely solid for those looking for an offensive playstyle, especially a more methodical one, like Grimmjow. Also, Law isn't as unsafe as some other characters in close range and long range situations. Whilst he has some long range potential, Law just straight up can't zone anyone with projectiles, and so he will just lose matchups against zoning players. So yeah guys, that's all I have for today's video. I know it's been a long one, but that's fine. The purpose of this video was for me to create a definitive DLC buying guide which hopefully won't age poorly. That way the information is still relevant for a long time and you can come back to this video whenever you're considering buying a new character to see if they're for you or not. This video took a lot of work overall, but I think that it's worth it and I hope you enjoyed. Also, I do plan to create a buying guide for Jump Force DLC Season 2 when the final 2 characters launch, so stay tuned. I just want to recap the 9 DLC characters and how I would recommend them to you. If you're looking to pick up a character based on their strength, I'd say that Law, All Might and Bakugo are some good options. Not only are they individually powerful characters, but they also have some good team synergy and are simple to pick up. If you're looking to play a character with a unique gameplay style compared to other characters, Majin Buu, Seto Kaiba and Grimmjow are solid options here. And if you're looking for a character based on having a nice assortment of interesting tools, unique styles and a balance of strength, then you can't go wrong with Biscuit, Madara or Toshiro. Those were just very generalized definitions of the characters. For example, most of the characters are strong, so if you're looking for a strong character, then basically all of them are a solid choice. They're also all quite unique. While some have some overlaps here and there, most of their abilities feel unique to them and really add value to your purchase. With that, I'll end this video. I'd recommend forwarding this video, or at least the information in this video, to anyone who asks the question, who should I buy? Ultimately, the answer is whoever you want, but it's not always easy to know how to spend your money wisely, in which case refer back to this video to get a look at the overall value you get in the character pack as well as a general understanding of the character's gameplay style and strength. Thanks for watching everyone, I had fun working on this project, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.